Hey there, Latin learners. We've made so much progress on the base, but we may not be able to do this all by ourselves. We need help with the cows and also the horses. But most of all, we need some help with the fields. Let's set up a fun place for some farmers to come help out.
Henle Vocabulary Lesson 15. Learning about the perfect active system, but of course there are still vocabulary words to look at. And the first one that we see is coloco. And in your vocabulary, you're probably just going to see coloco and then first and then a tr, meaning transitive. But that just means that it's going to have the same endings that any first conjugation verb would have. And so our four principal parts for this word are coloco, colocare, colocavi, colocatus. And this one means place, and here's or station. And the way that I remember that is by looking and seeing the loco in the word. Remember, locus is the Latin word for place. It's the noun form, this one is the action. Coloco means place or station. And this is usually used with soldiers when you're wanting to place or station a soldier in a specific spot in the battlefield, for example. Then we have maneo, manere, mansi, mansurus. Now notice in this one we have that US there, but this one also has a UR in there. So you're gonna just have to make sure and memorize that. It doesn't have an ITUS, for example. It just has that URUS, so make sure and you memorize that. This word means remain. Alright, then we have compleo, complere, complevi, completus. Now this one is a second conjugation verb, and this one actually means to fill with. And the easiest way to remember that is to think of the word complete, especially with that fourth principal part there. When you complete something, maybe if you complete the building of a wall, then you will have filled it with bricks, for example. So that's kind of how I think of it. But make sure you don't translate it as complete, because it does not mean complete. It means fill with. The reason that the with is in parentheses is because you don't necessarily have to put the word with there in your translation. This one is also used a lot with the word with the ablative, and you'll kind of learn how that works exactly. But that's just kind of something that's nice to remember. It's used a lot with the ablative. Then we have kido, kedere, kesi, kesurus. Now, when I look at this word, I honestly think of the word cease, even though the C in the Roman pronunciation is pronounced like a K. I like to think of the word cease, especially maybe a cop might say cease and desist. Now, what do cease and desist mean? It means to give way or yield, give up, basically. So that's what kido means, kedere, kesi, kesurus. It means give way or yield. And then we have atque or ak. Now, just so you know, this AC is just another form for atque. It's like the same thing, basically. It's just a shortened version. It's kind of like a nickname for atque, because for a long time I thought that meant accusative or something, but then atque means and. So I was kind of like, what? How can the word and be with the accusative? But this is actually just the AC there is actually a full word by itself. It's the same thing as atque means and. Now, atque here even though we already know a word for and, et, remember? Atque is actually used a lot when you're trying to combine two different words and not two different phrases, or maybe two different phrases, but usually not two different clauses. If you're trying to say I ran and then I hid or something, then you're probably not going to use this word. You're probably going to use et. But if you want to say me and my friend and I ran, then you're probably going to use this word to combine my friend and I. So it means and. Then we have incito, incitare, incitavi, incitatus. Now, if you look at this word and also kind of pronounce the C like an S, then you kind of might see an English word, incito, because this word actually means incite in English. And incite or arouse, the word incite kind of just means to give life to or to spark life into or something like that. So this word is used a lot whenever in the context of soldiers, maybe at a camp, and some general wants them to do something, so he has to incite or arouse the troops. So that's usually what this word is used, most often how this word is used. And this word is a first conjugation verb, so we see that ARE, AVI, ATUS in there that are most common for the first conjugation, so that's really nice. So it means incite or arouse. Then we have adjuo, adjuare, adjui, adjutus. This one is a first conjugation verb, but you'll have to notice that the last two principal parts are slightly irregular. We just don't have the same exact endings, but you will see that the perfect endings and all the endings that you'll need to be using with that form are the same as any other first conjugation verb. It's just the stem that looks just a little bit different. And just as a little precaution, if you're watching my Latin videos, then I use this word a lot in my examples, so this one's nice to know. It means help or aid.
Speaking of help or aid, our bunkhouse is complete, so I'm going to see if I can find a couple villagers who are willing to make the move to the beach. Come on, let's go. So glad to finally have some help. They brought their families, and now we're good to go.
Then we have serwo, serware, serwawi, serwatus. This one is slightly tricky because it kind of looks like there'd be a very obvious meaning for this word, serve, but this one does not mean serve. It actually means guard or keep. But that's kind of what a servant does. Maybe this is just like a bodyguard or something, not a servant. It's like a bodyguard. Just think of bodyguard. It means guard or keep. And notice it is a first conjugation verb. It's regular. Has all the same endings that you'd expect. Then we have perturbo, perturbare, perturbawi, perturbatus. This one is easy to remember because it rhymes with the word that it means. Perturbo means disturb or confuse. So perturb, disturb, kind of rhymes. Hopefully that helps you memorize this one. Or it also means confuse, so don't forget that one if you see that in the English. Confuse, perturb. And then we have inkindo, inkindere, inkindi, inkinsus. So also pronouncing this one with the C kind of like an S. You see incindo. If you think kind of maybe of incense or something, this one actually means to set fire to or burn. This is kind of a violent word. Moving into PG level words, Latin words. So this word means set fire to or burn. It's a third conjugation verb, so you make sure to memorize all four principal parts. Super important. And then last word we have here is tum. This one's a really nice one, but make sure and you memorize it because there are other words that will look kind of like it. And so I still kind of have trouble memorizing this one just because I did not pay much attention to this word. And then when another one came up, for example, there's a word tam. Looks a lot like this one except for the vowel. Whenever I learned that new word, then I keep mixing those up. So make sure and you memorize this one. This word means then or at that time. It's an adverb, so it'll be modifying your verb.
Now that we have farmers, we thought they might need some blacksmith friends to help out with the animals.
Alright, so let's go through these words and see what we have memorized and what we can say here. Alright, first word is colloco, collocare, collocavi, collocatus. Remember what this one means? This one means place or station. Then we have maneo, manere, mansi, mansurus. This one means remain. You can kind of see man in there. Maybe that'll help you memorize it. Then we have compleo, complere, complewi, completus, or completus maybe. This word, remember, means fill with. Remember, it does not mean complete. It means fill with. And then we have kedo, kedere, kesi, kesurus. This one means give way or yield. And then we have atque or ak. This word means and. Remember, it's just another form of the word et, just maybe used differently. Then we have incito, incitare, incitawi, incitatus. Remember, this one means incite or arouse. And then we have adiuo, adiuare, adiui, adiutus, which means help or aid. Then we have servo, servare, servavi, servatus, guard or keep. Then perturbo, perturbere, bare, perturbavi, perturbatus, if I can say it. This one means confuse or disturb. And then we have incindo, incindere, incindi, incensus. And this word, remember, this is the slightly violent word, which means set fire to or burn. Now it's kind of weird because in the stories that are given that Caesar writes about, sometimes people actually do this to their own stuff. Like there's a story about a tribe that wanted to go take over someone else's territory. So they're like, just in case we have regrets, let's burn down our whole village. Very strategic military choice, of course, I'm sure you agree. Then we have tum. What does tum mean? Tum means then, or at that time. Alright, so there's a lot of words in lesson 15, but if you just work hard to memorize those, make sure you memorize the 4 principal parts. But if you make sure and work hard to memorize those, then I'm sure you'll have them down in no time.
Great job, everyone. Just like with working a farm, it's nice to have some help. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. See you next time.